Welcome to Nutrition Talk Tuesday. My name is Nicole Kale, board certified holistic nutritionist, and today's episode, we are going to talk about, are you eating for image or are you eating for health? I took a little survey and it was really interesting. There was about 50 or so people that said, you know what, half the time I'm eating for image and the other half I'm eating for health, but I'm kind of a split in the middle. So clearly this is a topic that we want to cover. The first thing I want to mention to you, I know it's very easy to see somebody and think, oh my gosh, that person is so beautiful or so handsome. And you feel excited, like you start setting new goals because you're like, I want a body like ABC, or I want to have abs like this person. And you start with the best of intentions, like something that they have is inspiring you. But I want to bring attention to something that's very important here. There is not many people that you see online that aren't either one, genetically very blessed, or two, they are eating for image and not eating for health. And so do you know what that means? There is a trade-off. And some light that I want to shed on this subject is just because somebody looks drop dead gorgeous or ridiculously handsome and is very lean with amazing muscle tone does not mean that they are biochemically in good shape. And a few examples that I want to give you. I have the opportunity to work with many individuals who are aesthetically drop dead gorgeous. But here's the thing. Many of those individuals are professionals with eating disorders. And you don't get to see that shame and all that struggle behind what you see on the social media platforms. The other thing is they've made it basically an acceptance, like, you know what? I'm okay if I have amenorrhea and my hypothalamus and pituitary aren't working correctly, which means I won't have a menstrual cycle. That's okay with me because what's more important to me is how I look. And I want to bring this attention to you because there's always a trade-off. 9 out of 10 times, if you see somebody online that is just smoking, there's other stuff suffering in their body and they've just kind of let it go. They're okay with that. And that's not a bad thing. If you work with me and we go over this, I don't want you to feel that it's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, but I just want to bring your attention to there is a trade-off when you're eating for image versus health. There are instances where genetically you can just be absolutely fortunate and you can eat all your micro and macronutrients and there's no issue. You're not in a deficiency. You're not malnourished. You're not depriving parts of your body, your endocrine system and all this stuff that needs good nourishment. And so everything's fine. But I'm telling you right now, if there was 10 people in this room, 9 of them, 9 would be having issue if they were eating just for aesthetic. So I want to pull the curtain off of that. I don't want you to think that what you see online is healthy. It is not healthy 99% of the time. So the first thing is I want you to realize as humans, we all have a set point weight. And what that means is, and you're going to know what I'm talking about. Your body, no matter kind of what you eat or don't eat, has a place where it just likes to hang out. And that's an easier place to maintain. So I'm not saying that you can't achieve a different image. And of course you can lose the weight and get very close to what your goals are and still attain health. But I'm saying that you just have to realize that your biology, your demands of how your body processes nutrition and fat and burns fat is going to be very different. So I just want you to be very careful about the comparison trap and who you're allowing to motivate you. Because most times those people that have all the awesome shreddedness, amazingness that you see that's aesthetically pleasing, there is struggle behind there. So I want you to be very, very careful if that's your driving force. We only have so much motivation and discipline that we can use along our journey. We need to create healthy habits, right? And so in order to do that, we have to dig deep within our soul and set our sights on something that is not only attainable, but sustainable. That's the most important part. You can't be miserable your whole entire journey. Nobody's going to succeed at having health for life and being healthy and loving life if you're in a constant state of misery. It just doesn't work like that. So the other thing that I want you to think about is that pressure that you're putting on yourself because you have this goal of someone that you saw. or because, the Joneses have the most beautiful home and there's all this greatness that you're seeing online. What we don't realize is every day we're allowing that to come into our mind, that pressure from social media, that pressure from the internet, that pressure from our peer group, no matter what it is. When we continue to allow that into our brain, it is going to shape you in some way. It can either shape you for the better or for the worse. So when you're looking online and you find yourself in that comparison trap, you have to realize that it's not real life. It's a highlight reel. And I know you've probably heard this and you're like, yeah, okay, I get it. But the reality is we don't get it because our mental health, our drive for diet and health is at a very low point in the world right now. And so I want to break that cycle and I want to free you from that feeling of like, I'm never going to attain the body that I want. Because you will. It just takes time. And you have to shift your mindset. I don't want you to eat for image. I want you to eat for health. And that's easy to say and harder to do because sometimes when we don't have something we can tangibly grab or something we can physically look at to push us forward, we can't get through the hard times. But I'd like to challenge you to do this. Instead of attaching your why, your drive, your desire to be healthy to a person that has no connection to you, no love for you, isn't there picking up the pieces when you falter. I want you to attach it to something more meaningful. Perhaps you don't want to have a disease in the future, so you're going to do everything you can to attain health so you don't have to ever, hopefully, fingers crossed, cross that bridge. You want to eat for prevention, right? And so if you can find something that has substance and meaning to you, my why, to give you an idea, is I've been very heavy in my lifetime as a child. I was made fun of so hard. They used to call me Piggy Wiggy. It was awful. And I had a family member that used to make semi-truck noises like honk honk when I would walk. It was awful. I'm dead serious here. And so for the longest time, my journey was riddled with fear and just mayhem. It was not healthy. And then one day I just realized, you know what? I want to be healthy because I want to feel amazing, right? My biological father had an autoimmune disease. I didn't want that to happen. I was having some health issues at a very young age. And so I decided to tie my reason, like my drive, regardless of if the sun is shining or there's a storm over my life, right? My desire for wellness is rooted from a place of love, from a place of peace, from a place of prosperity and excitement. I want to be healthy for a very long time. I want to be 80 and like my grandma, able to go on a walk on the beach and hike and do all these great things and have a meaningful conversation and be so vibrant. When you get to see what's behind the closed doors, like I get the opportunity in my practice to see things that many of you probably don't see. But I am telling you, those people that you see online, right? The ones that we keep attaching so much of our excitement for or thinking this is what we should look like because they look like that. What you don't realize is half of them really do have professional eating disorders. And I say that from a completely humble place. I understand. I work with these people. But on top of that, some of them are just genetically blessed. A person who does a really excellent job is Melissa Urban from Whole30. She talks about like these abs, whether I was drinking sodas and eating fried foods or I'm ridiculously healthy, they're here to stay. She is a person that actually provides truth. So if you're going to allow somebody to influence you that aesthetically is what you're going towards, make sure it's somebody that's being honest with you, that is telling you the truth, right? That's not taking anabolic steroids, that's not in complete dysfunction biochemically to the point where they're not having a menstrual cycle. Or if you're the opposite, if you're a male not having a menstrual cycle, maybe erectile dysfunction. Like what you don't realize is there is so much dysfunction that can go on behind what a person looks like. Just because they're showing us a snippet doesn't mean you're getting the full story. And so my objective here is not to shame. I come from a complete place of humility. I've done both. I have been extremely fit and lost my menstrual cycle, and I used to do it on purpose. Like if I had something important, like I'm gonna get rigorous, I'm gonna exercise, I'm gonna diet down because I have a big something coming up and I don't wanna have a period, right? So we've all been there. We've all done this type of a thing, right? So I'm speaking with you. I'm not speaking at you. I just want to make sure, like, my job here as a mama bear is to protect you and to bring light and love into your journey. A diet equation, a health equation that is riddled with fear and comparison is never going to give you the positive outcome. But if you can attach your why to your wellness journey, I want to be healthy for very good reasons. And you can come from a place of love, a place of joy, and a place of peace. You will always have and yield an excellent outcome. So it's my challenge to you. If you find yourself in the comparison trap, if you find yourself struggling and seeing what everybody else looks like and you feel like you should look like that, stop and pause for a second and remind yourself, this person is a human, and more than likely behind this little clip I'm seeing, there is trauma, there is trouble, there is sacrifice, and there's trade-off for this image. And attach your reason, your desire for health to something meaningful with substance. I know that if you can give yourself self-love along the way and make your why bigger than image, you will have long-term health. Thank you for tuning in. I hope this episode brought value to you. And of course, if you love this episode, please like, comment, or share. Your feedback is invaluable to me.